Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Okay, so alright, so let me know in the comments if the sound is working. Just let me know if the sound is coming through. Ya Allah. Hopefully it should be working correctly. Should be no problems, inshallah. Wa alaikum assalam, Qasim. Hi, how you been? Alhamdulillah. Alright, so let's start then. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Okay, let's go. So we're continuing from where we left off last time. Okay. Let me just change this. Right, let's start. So everyone ready? Okay, so Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Right, so we're continuing from verse number 22 now. So previously we've been talking about the concept of overpowering. Yeah, so we talked about room, and we said this whole entire surah, it revolves around concepts that are found when it comes to domination. Yeah, so the idea of domination, ultimate domination, is from Allah. Allah is the ultimate ghalib, and all these sort of like proxy and sort of small domination that take place in life, whether it's a country dominating another country and one military army dominating another, one tribe with another, one person dominating another. All of these things are just things which are very temporary, and in reality permanent dominance is for Allah. Yeah, so that's one of the themes that we find over here. And then why do we get this, like, why isn't there permanent dominance? Why isn't it for humans? Like, why have we never found in history that there is a certain human certain human nation or a community that has always dominated? Why is it that we don't find? Why isn't that Fir'aun's family or lineage has always dominated? Why don't we find someone else like that? And likewise, why won't we find China always dominating, or even the US or even Europe dominating all the time? So this is something that we're looking at in this surah. Okay, so verse number 22, Allah says, وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ خَلْقُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَاخْتِلَافُ أَلْسِنَتِكُمْ وَأَلْوَانِكُمْ. Right, so from the signs of Allah, there's three things that Allah mentions. So from the signs of Allah, so previously we mentioned some signs as well, but now we're talking about some more signs. So min ayatihi, from his signs, is khalqus samawati wal ard, the creation of the skies and the creation of the earth. Yeah, so min ayatihi khalqus samawat wal ard. So therefore now we're going to have to ponder, when it comes to the creation of the skies and the creation of the earth, this is something that's going to bring a person's mind to Allah. How is it going to bring a person's mind to Allah? So it may bring a person's mind to Allah because they're going to be thinking about the sky, and they're going to be thinking about the earth, and they're going to be thinking about where did the earth come from, and they're going to be thinking about what's in the sky, and then, where did the sky come from? What was it before this? What was the cause that created the sky? What was the cause that created the earth? And so forth. And just like, nowadays when it comes to science, you can maybe imagine. So therefore, this has also something which is related to the theme of this surah. The idea of this sort of like ultimate dominance for Allah, but then this temporary sort of like dominance that you're going to find in creation. Like one takes over the other, the cycles that we're talking about. Yeah, the cycles of life and the cycle of death. One nation rising and one nation falling, like that. So khalqus samawati wal ard. So if a person contemplates on how the earth has been created, and if you think about it, how has the earth been created? So just look at the earth yourself. You have this earth, and then some parts of the earth have soil, and some parts of the earth have sand, and some have rock, and some have mountains. And then this earth shakes, and then things come out of this earth. And sometimes the earth is covered with water, and sometimes not covered with water. And the same with the sky as well. So the skies, sometimes one thing is happening in the sky, sometimes another thing is happening in the skies. All of these indicate this same idea of change taking place. وَاخْتِلَافُ أَلْسِنَتِكُمْ وَأَلْوَانِكُمْ. اختلاف ألسنة. So one is خَلْقُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ, in the creation of the skies and earth. And the second is اختلاف ألسنة. اختلاف of the alsina is the difference in the tongues, speech, languages, communication. So the difference in the tongues, that now we have to think about it. We're speaking English here. The Quran is in Arabic. And then besides these two languages, you have hundreds of languages. Yeah, maybe even thousands of languages that exist on earth. And then so many of those languages have died out. And then where did these languages come from? Who was the first person that spoke a language? Just like we see a child can't speak a language, but they learn communication. They have this ability to communicate, right? So a child might want food, and he has a way of telling his mother he wants food. And a child might want to go toilet, and he has a way of telling the mother he wants to go toilet. So all of these things that happen, these are all things which are in the, like we can say, found inside of humankind as well. So humankind have difference in language. Where does this lie? How comes humans have different languages? How comes humans don't all speak the same language? Right? Why aren't we like computers, where all the computers can communicate with one another with a universal language? Why is it so different? So again, اختلاف ألسنتكم, this is indication towards Rome obviously spoke a different language. Inside of Rome there must have been, a multitude of languages that were spoken. Where did this difference in languages come from? What effect does your difference in language have on the domination of Rome? Right, so all these things are going to play a part. Yeah, so languages itself, some people, the languages they speak, they make them softer. Like it has an effect on your temperament. Some people's language is very harsh and very hard, and it has an effect on your temperament. So there's difference in languages as well. وَأَلْوَانِكُمْ, and your colours. Yeah, colours meaning the shades. So humans have different shades. Some are very dark in complexion, some are light in complexion, some parts of your body are very dark, some parts of your body are very lighter. Right? So all of these kind of things, the pigmentation, the skin, when a person thinks about these, why is this different for? If all the humans are the same, as in humans, where did this difference in colour come from? How come there's so many variants in shades that we have? So all of these things are indication towards a greater power, some deliberate greater power that exists out there, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Rome, the colour of the people of Rome was of different shades. The colour of the people of Persia was of different shades. Colour of the people of Arab was of different shades. Yeah, but still all of them are competing with one another in whatever. So min ayatihi khalqus samawat wal ard wa ikhtilaf alsinatikum wa alwanikum all of these things Allah is indicating there has to be some sort of wisdom behind all of these things, right? And all of these things have to play a role in domination. So at the moment, English language is dominant, you can say. And if someone was to say white color is a dominant color at the moment, yeah, like humans, Caucasian, white color dominant. A lot of the countries that are dominating are Europeans, Americans, and at one time in the past that wasn't the case. Like for example, at one time Fir'aun was dominating in one part of the world, and he had a very powerful army, the Egyptians. So their skin color was different. And then at one time there would have been before them African nations of a certain skin color, and at one time there might have been, you know, others. So this is why all of these kind of like differences that we have in the people in times, all of these have an effect. Inna fi dhalika la ayatin lil alimin. So indeed in that are signs for alims. Alims doesn't mean like someone who's graduated from a madrasa. Alim is referring to someone who knows. In other words, like you can say maybe even scientists. Scientist, someone who's an expert, someone who has done studies in the skies, someone who's done studies in astronomy, someone who does studies in paleontology and the earth and geography, someone who does studies in languages, someone who's done studies in biology of why humans are different colors. They will know that there are signs. They are the ones that will know these signs of Allah. As in, this is indicating towards very different layers of people in society who will recognize Allah's signs. So for example, like me and you might recognize Allah's signs in certain things, and there might be other people who will recognize Allah's signs in other things. Yeah, like maybe there's someone who is a medic, a doctor, and he sees the signs of Allah in other ways, in things that we can't see the signs of Allah in, because of the understanding, the knowledge that he has. And there might be a scholar, an alim, scholar, like what we tend to call a scholar, someone who's qualified from a university, madrasa, science. They might see the signs of Allah in something else. Yeah, so it all varies from person to person. Inna fi dhalika la ayatin lil alamin. Okay, so next. So if there's any reflections that you guys have as well, you guys can put it in the comments. Okay. Right, the next one. وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ مَنَامُكُمْ بِاللَّيْلِ وَالنَّهَارِ وَابْتِغَاؤُكُمْ مِنْ فَضْلِهِ. Okay, evolutionists say that living creatures are continue evolving. However, the geography and climate are relatively constant and reliable. Who do they think created this constants? Yeah, good point. Definitely. So these are actually, you know, things for us to reflect on and to think about ourselves as well. وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ مَنَامُكُمْ بِاللَّيْلِ وَالنَّهَارِ وَابْتِغَاؤُكُمْ مِنْ فَضْلِهِ. So from the signs of Allah are manamukum. Manamukum meaning your sleep. Billayli at night. وَالنَّهَارِ and in the day. So sleep in the night and in the day is a sign of Allah. So I want you to think about that. How is sleep in the night and sleep in the day a sign of Allah? وَابْتِغَاؤُكُمْ مِنْ فَضْلِهِ. And you all seeking His virtue. Meaning you all seeking Allah's virtue, sustenance, going and earning. It's all signs of Allah in this. Now you need to think, what are the signs of Allah when humans go to earn? Like, why is humans going out to earn? Signs of Allah in there. Likewise, why is there signs of Allah when humans go to sleep at night and in the day? Inna fi dhalika la ayatin. Indeed, in that are signs liqawmin yasma'un, for people who listen, for people who hear. So if you look at this then, verse number 21 says, indeed there are signs for those who ponder, reflect, yatafakkarun. Verse number 22 says, indeed there are signs in there for those who lil alamin, so those people who are alims, have some expertise in a certain field. And the third one, 23, inna fi dhalika la ayat liqawmin yasma'un. So verse number 23 is more to do with hearing. Yeah, so that's more to do with hearing. Verse 22 is more to do with expertise, specialist. And 21 is more to do with reflection. Reflection, everyone can do. Yeah. Alimin is more specific to someone who's an expert in a certain field. And yasma'un, listening, is more to do with a person who is hearing, as in has the ability to hear what's happening. Yeah, and what do you hear? You hear sounds, you hear information. Yeah, it's more to do with the hearing rather than other senses. So okay, if that reliable continuity was not there, their evolution theory would be pure chaos. Yeah, I mean, definitely, these are definitely things that we have to think about. Yeah, we have to think about this, the earth, and not all of us. That's the thing is, we don't all have to know all of the signs of Allah in the creation, and we won't. All of us won't recognize that, but different humans will be able to reflect on signs of Allah in their own ways. Right, so a person who's a farmer in a field somewhere, he will be able to see signs of Allah at his own capacity. And then someone who's the leader of a country will be able to see signs of Allah his capacity. As in, everyone has this. And if you look at this surah is kind of like, if you kind of think about the min ayatihi, sort of like, this is something that came to my mind. If you look at all these kind of things, this kind of min ayatihi an khalaqakum min turab, created you from turab, soil. Min ayati khalaqa lakum min anfusikum azwajan, create azwaj for you. من آياته أن خلق السماوات والأرض اختلاف ألوانكم. من آياته sleeping. من آياته, all of these things are kind of talking about society. Society is made up of human beings. Where do human beings come from? So human beings have an origin. Okay, how did human beings get where they are? Like, how did we get where we are today? Yeah, obviously, originally we weren't from this place. We came from somewhere else. Yeah, humans obviously came from somewhere else. They didn't just grow in the ground. They came from somewhere. And but that's the thing we need to think about, the signs of Allah in that. You having these spouses for ourselves. So having spouses, partners, where did this come from? How is it that we were able to, like, is it something just like through a social sort of acclimatization? We become acclimatized. Men are acclimatized to women, and women are acclimatized to men. And if men were to become acclimatized to a donkey or to a cow, then that would become a norm after a while. Or women were to become acclimatized to a tree or to a rock, would that become a norm? No, it wouldn't. It's something that's actually been put inside of us, right? So it's been put inside of us. Again, if you just think about like civilization, think about Rome, think about Persia, think about the Arabs. This idea of them having partners, families, and then that family growing, and then that family staying together. It's not like animals where they'll mate and then they'll leave their family and then they'll go off somewhere else. And then khalqus samawati wal ard. It's like when the society grows, then they start thinking about other things. So it's like a timeline you can imagine. Yeah. So you can, the beginning of the timeline, where do humans come from? And then the next thing is, how comes humans have this this idea of partnership? Communities. Where did this come from? And then how comes humans think about the skies and the earth? After this, now they're starting to look around the society, the skies, the earth. Changing of the languages. The language is different as well. اختلاف ألسنتكم ألوانكم. So it's like they only think about the skies and the earth and everything else once everything's set up. Once everything is set in a society. اختلاف ألسنتكم وألوانكم إن في ذلك لآيات العالمين. So it's like the alamins only come after this, right? So maybe you can look at it this way, that in a very developing country, you can say you're not going to get as much experts as you are going to get in a developed country, simply because in a developing country they don't have the infrastructure, they don't have the economical support, financial support to be able to do this. Whereas in a developed country, you get everything in place, so the people don't have to worry about the basic sort of needs of a society. They can focus on specialization. وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ مَنَامُكُمْ بِاللَّيْلِ وَالنَّهَارِ. And then from the signs of Allah are مَنَامُكُمْ بِاللَّيْلِ وَالنَّهَارِ. So sleeping at night and the day now. So again, why is sleeping at night and sleeping in the day so important? Allah is ruling over the tiniest of our capillaries and hormone secretions. He controls the rhythms which tell us to sleep at night. Yeah, definitely. So excellent point. In other words, all all of the chemical reactions that are taking place in our body at the moment, or at the molecular level, or atomic level, all of these are being controlled by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself. And Allah controlling all of these things is an indication towards what we said in the beginning. Lillahi al-amru min qablu wa min ba'd. Allah is in control of everything. Min qabl wa min ba'd. So Allah is in control of creation of the sky, the languages, the colors. These aren't things out of Allah's control. Allah is in control. Allah is putting everything in place. And the sleep as well. So the sleep might be indicating towards something which is, very scientific. Like there could be some sort of a scientific point that's been highlighted over here. Yeah. And if you're not experts in this, we wouldn't be able to understand that. But it also might be speaking about something which is very basic, a basic concept, which is, has anyone ever thought that even the powerfulest of human beings, even Fir'aun, had to sleep? Yeah, even Fir'aun would have to sleep at night time, and maybe Fir'aun would have to sleep sometimes in the day as well. So in other words, the sleep overpowering a human shows this idea that, ghulibatir Rum. Yeah, so the overpowering of the human being is something which is consistent, right, throughout this surah. Yeah, so manamukum bil layli wan nahar. So if a person has this ability to be able to, or if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has the ability to be able to put a person to sleep, then that clearly shows us that we're not in control. As in, we're not in control because we have to go to sleep, and sleep seems to be something which, like Eshan mentioned, that seems to be something which is Allah is ruling this. Does that make sense? So manamukum bil layli wan nahari, and wabtigha'ukum min fadlihi, and seeking his fadl, his virtue. As in, it's like earning is all about seeking, right? So earning is all about seeking. As in, when we go to earn, what happens? So in other words, let's say we had 100 people, and we gave them, let's say, an assignment to go and earn a project. They've gone to earn. One might come back with a certain salary. Another person might come back with another salary. Another person might come with another salary. You're not going to get them all earning the same thing, right? It just doesn't work. Now why is this for? Why is it that some people's salary is a very high salary, and some people's salary is a low salary, and some people might not even be able to earn that much? Why is there such a difference for? Obviously, all of this is from the virtue of Allah. Virtue is, something that's given to someone, which is as a bonus, as in it's like something fadl. Fadl means extra, right? It's got nothing to do with ability, right? So in other words, there's no sort of like formula to say if a person has this ability, he's going to earn this much. Doesn't necessarily mean that. Someone could be extremely qualified, but can't find a job, can't earn anything. And there could be another person who has no qualifications at all, and the guy is earning lots and lots of money. Yeah, or she's earning lots and lots of money. Just something from the fadl of Allah. ذَلِكَ فَضْلُ اللَّهِ يُؤْتِيهِ مَنْ يَشَاءُ. This is the virtue of Allah. He gives you whoever He wants. And again, this goes back to what we were saying before. تُؤْتِي الْمُلْكَ مَنْ تَشَاءُ تُعِزُّ مَنْ تَشَاءُ تُذِلُّ مَنْ تَشَاءُ. Allah gives kingdom to whoever He wants. He takes it away from whoever He wants. He gives them honor, respect, takes it away from whoever He wants. So again, same thing over here. وَابْتِغَاءُكُم مِّن فَضْلِهِ. You seeking. So humans have this ability to go and seek. And then therefore, these humans that go and seek, out of the 100 of them, some of them are going to earn a lot. Some of them are going to earn less. Some of them are going to earn nothing. Again, same concept with civilization. So civilizations are structured on this system. As if you look at civilization works like a pyramid. So at the top of the pyramid, you have the people who are the highest earners, right, or the most powerful elite. And there are very few of them usually. And then the lower earners are more. And this is you can say maybe a structure, a model that's found throughout the world, maybe even throughout history. So I might argue. So here, this is indication as well to how civilizations dominate one another. Yeah, so the domination of civilizations, this is what can happen as well. Yeah, and in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also mentions about this. نَحْنُ قَسَمْنَا بَيْنَكُمْ مَعِيشَتَكُمْ. We are the ones that have, Allah said, I'm the one that has distributed for you your ma'isha. وَرَفَعْنَا بَعْضَكُمْ فَوْقَ بَعْضٍ. And some of you we've raised over others. So this this deliberate system that Allah has created, just like Allah has created in your body and in the earth, some things that are weak and some things that are strong. Likewise, Allah has created inside of society some people that are strong, some people that are weak, some people that are higher in status, some people are low in status, and all of these are supporting one another. Right? If you imagine mankind was like a big building, every brick in the building is supporting each other. Right? Every beam, every structure, every little piece. So the same thing over here. Ibtigha'ukum min fadli. This idea that everyone is earning from each other. Everyone is benefiting each other. The economy is supported on the backs of everyone, whether it's the supremely rich or whether it's those who are extremely poor. Everyone over here. So again, min ayati, from his signs. Inna fi dhalika la ayatin liqawmin yasma'un. Yeah, so inna fi dhalika la ayatin, indeed there are in there signs for people who hear. So in other words, people hearing, the hearing ability, people have the ability to hear things. This is something that we need to use in this science. So okay, how do we apply this in sleep then? Yeah, so you can put it in the comments, inshallah. Just to mention again, I won't be answering any fiqh questions or any questions that are not related to this surah. So if they're related to this surah, then I'll answer them, inshallah. But if they're not related to the surah, I won't be answering them. Why is the listening over here so important for? So this is the reflection that comes to my mind about why the sound is so important. Is because sleeping, when a person goes to sleep, then the last thing that a person actually, you can say the senses that works, the last sort of sense is the hearing sense. Yeah, that's like the last sense that works, because your eyes close and your body switches off. So your hearing is the last sense. So in other words, the hearing is associated with the sleeping. And also at night time, it's dark usually, right? So because it's dark at night time, the hearing sense is the one that is the most, the strongest. Okay, other senses don't really work that well at night time. So it's the hearing sense that's the most strongest. Ibtigha'ukum min fadlihi. But then seeking virtue from Allah, how is hearing? So this could be because we don't see people earning. Like when someone goes to work, they tell you they went to work. And when someone comes back from work, they tell you they came back from work. Yeah. So in other words, this idea of ibtigha'ukum min fadli, the reason people have gone work is because reports reach your ears. So in other words, all of this information that's coming to you, yeah, like the difference in the colors of skin doesn't require sound. Sound can't tell you the difference in color of skin. Sound can't tell you sound doesn't necessarily tell you about the difference in languages being a sign of Allah, right? Over there you need like some expertise, specialist skills. Over here though, sound is sufficient. Yeah, for people who hear, that's enough for them to think, why is it that when we go to sleep, why is it that in the dark we go to sleep? Like why do humans for so many thousands of years been going to sleep at night time? Why don't humans go to sleep in the daytime? Like why don't humans, everyone, just 8 hours in the day just go to sleep and work at night? Wouldn't it be better to work at night in hot countries, or for example like maybe in other parts of the world? It's calmer, it's more quiet. But again, liqawmin yasma'un. Yeah. Okay, then he says, وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ يُرِيكُمُ الْبَرْقَ خَوْفًا وَطَمَعًا وَيُنَزِّلُ مِنَ السَّمَاءِ مَاءً فَيُحْيِي بِهِ الْأَرْضَ بَعْدَ مَوْتِهَا إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ لَآيَاتٍ لِقَوْمٍ يَعْقِلُونَ. So here, again, another one of the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What are the signs of Allah? يُرِيكُمْ الْبَرْقَ. He shows you lightning. Barq means lightning. Yes, a flash of lightning. خَوْفًا وَطَمَعًا. Khawfan, I don't want to go into tarkibs of this, but there are about three tarkibs that you can do for this, khawfan wa tama'an. But khawf means fear, tama' means out of hope. So in other words, Allah shows you lightning, and this lightning for some people it creates a fear in the hearts, and for some people it creates hope. How does it create fear in people's hearts? You can put it in the comments. Yeah, you can put in the comments, inshallah. How does lightning create fear in the hearts? And how does lightning create hope in the hearts of some people? Yeah. وَيُنَزِّلُ مِنَ السَّمَاءِ مَاءً, and he sends down gradually. يُنَزِّلُ, he sends down gradually. مِنَ السَّمَاءِ, from the sky. مَاءً, water. Right, he sends down water from the sky. فَيُحْيِيَ بِهِ الْأَرْضِ, and therefore he gives life with it. So with the water, he gives life to the ard, to the earth, بَعْدَ مَوْتِهَا, after the death of the earth. So after the earth shows signs of death, after the earth seems as though it's lifeless, Allah gives life to the earth. So now think about this. Lightning creates fear in people's hearts. Some people's hearts it creates hope, and then gradual sending down of rain from the sky, and this rain being used as a means to give life to the earth. So all this process taking place. So in your mind, this ayah, what this does is, it creates like sort of like a scenario. Yeah. So in your head, you're imagining with a time lapse, with like a fast time lapse. You're imagining all these things kind of happening. Inna fi dhalika al-ayat, indeed in that are signs, liqawmin ya'qilun, for people who use their aql, who use their common sense. Yeah, who use their common sense. So in other words, what do these things have in relation to common sense? Like Allah doesn't say liqawmin yasma'un here. Yasma'un is not mentioned, even though maybe through hearing a person might be able to gain something, obviously. But lightning, yeah, that's not really a hearing sort of a feature. And alimin, Allah doesn't mention here experts. لِقَوْمٍ alimin, or لِآيَاتٍ لِلْعَالِمِينَ. Yeah, for alimin. Doesn't say that. And doesn't say يَتَفَكَّرُونَ. So there's no tafakkur needed here. It's actually aql. So it's the common sense. What is the common sense here thing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is indicating towards? Wa alaykum assalam wa rahmatullah al-Ahmad and Ustad Abu Ibrahim, ahlan wa sahlan marhaban from the Netherlands, mashallah. Khan, lightning comes with the noise of thunder but the promise of rain. Definitely, this is proof for God's power of resurrection. Excellent. Yeah, so here Allah is bringing it back to, remember the same thing that was mentioned earlier on. كَذَلِكَ تُخْرَجُونَ, yeah, إِلَيْهِ تُرْجَعُونَ لِقَوْمٍ يَعْقِلُونَ, meaning, if you think about this, that all of this, where does the thunder come from? So the thunder obviously comes from the sky. But if you think about it, how is electricity created in the sky? As in, this is something which is like experts, if they think about this, it actually makes them wonder, and it makes them want to develop technology that they can create electricity in the sky. Imagine, we didn't need, power stations. We could just have on top of our houses some sort of like a replica cloud kind of thing that could create, or even in our houses, we could have some sort of a cloud kind of thing that creates electricity. Yeah, imagine how much we could save the environment. But we're not talking about that. But the lightning itself, it's so strange. Yeah, it's so strange that the clouds that we have so much hope in, like you can say, this is our jugular vein. The clouds are our jugular vein for humans across the earth. And so this cloud, at the same time, can be the means of our destruction. Yeah. So in other words, let's bring it back to now civilization. Let's bring it back to Rome, the most powerful civilization at that time. And in today's time, maybe the Western world, the most powerful civilization. For argument's sake, let's say. So how is this? So in other words, the same thing that you have so much hope in, which is the basic, elements that are received from the sky, the rain, can be a means of human destruction. Yeah. So maybe a person can reflect and think about how coronavirus, a flu, some sort of an illness that is just so harmless. Like it just seems so harmless. It doesn't have a mind of its own. It's something which is not even considered to be living like us. Yet it has so much destruction on human society. So again, person who has aql, anyone who has aql would understand that, look, if this civilization, this life that we're living in, can exist with so much power, then it's also possible that this civilization can be destroyed in an instant. Right? It's not far-fetched. Like Aql will tell you that it's not far-fetched to believe this. And likewise, if a civilization is dead, it's not far-fetched to believe that Allah can bring a more powerful civilization than the previous one. So for example, like Pharaoh's civilization, it came to a high, came to a peak. And Pharaoh's civilization died, it was destroyed. But then from Pharaoh's civilization must have come another civilization where the people didn't all just vanish. Like it wasn't just like one of those sci-fi movies where all the humans just disappear and new humans come. No, they were from the progeny of Pharaoh's people that came. Yeah, and I mean, from what I've read from history books, the Roman civilization, the Greek civilization continued from the Egyptian civilization, and then from the Greek civilization came the Roman civilization, right? But the Roman civilization, it covered more of the earth, right? It conquered more of the earth than the previous ones, right? From our records, from our historical records. So again, maybe over here there's some sort of indication towards that. That in other words, let's say Quraysh thinks they're very strong, and Quraysh are making threats against the Muslims. So the Muslims are being taught over here that Quraysh might die, might be destroyed in an instant, and they were destroyed in an instant. Battle of Badr really finished them off. Battle of Uhud, it completed the job, and then Ahzab was just like the last kind of straw that they had. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He created after them, He created the Muslim civilization. The Muslim civilization came from the mushriks. A lot of the Sahaba were from a mushrik civilization, but from them came amazing society. Yeah, so in other words, from the signs of Allah, all these things are from the signs of Allah. How Allah, like we said last time, the habits in the universe, the cycles that take place in the entire universe, all these cycles that take place, there's some power behind it. Yeah, we can't explain it, but we know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is in control. Yeah, and through science we try to explain it as best as we can. So let's just see what it says. This is a proof for God's power of resurrection, God sending the rain to revive the earth after his death. Definitely. Yeah, but remember, what we want to do is, we know, for example, sometimes we'll see an ayah which is repeated multiple times in the Quran, but we want to know, why is it brought in this surah for? Like, what is the significance of mentioning this? That's what creates a rabat, like a sort of a connection between all the ayats. And that's what the whole point of the reflection series is we want to try and understand, how does this surah become an entire entity, like one entity, from beginning to end. It's all connected, it's all interconnected. Every single thing in the surah, it's unique to this surah. And if you were to take it out of this surah and to put it into another surah, it will totally destroy the surah itself. Like, imagine like a surah being, like the, what do you call it? Those kind of house of cards. I mean, it's not really a good, nice example, but imagine like a house of cards, and then that house of cards, you just take away one card from the bottom. Yeah, everything drops. So imagine, this is how we have to understand the surah. And unfortunately, what tends to happen is that when we study the Quran, for example, whether we're studying at academic level or whether we're studying it just on an individual sort of like self-study, we tend to study the Quran according to topic. Like we'll categorize, we'll put ayats according to topics, right? So we'll say this ayah to do with akhirah, this to do with the dunya, this to do with let's say the prophets, this to do with, which is a good thing, but that's not how the Quran was revealed. Like, if the Quran was revealed to be in accordance with topics, then the Quran would have had chapters of topics, but the Quran doesn't have it like that. And that's why we can't see the beauty of each surah. Like, you can't see the surah, imagine it like potpourri, what potpourri is. So potpourri, where you have petals from different flowers and you put them all together and you mix them up. So this is what we're doing with the Quran. Many of us are. We take these kind of like petals, different ayats, and we put them together, and then we kind of like try to justify to people what the Quran is saying by the way we put the ayats together, right? The way we're giving a talk or something, a dars, and you bring them together, which is a good thing. I'm not saying it's wrong, but what I'm saying is, you don't the audience cannot see the beauty of one surah. Like they can't say, why is the surah amazing for? Like why is Fatiha amazing? Why is Baqarah amazing? Why is Ali Imran? Why is Isra, Kahf, Yasin, Mulk? Why are they amazing surahs for? So this is why we need to create this sense of rabat, connection, linking, whatever you want to call it. Tartib al-ayat. This is what many of the scholars in the past try to kind of understand. Is Ghalibat Rum like a literary thunderbolt bringing fear for someone and good news? Definitely, yeah. And think about this, that's a good, actually, excellent point that is, because now that's brought thought to my mind, which is when the news of the defeat of Rome came, this must have been like a lightning bolt. Yeah, like a lightning. At the moment, for example, like you think about the world at the moment, the world is kind of like on the edge at the moment. They don't know what's going to happen at the moment. Yeah, this coronavirus could go either way, right? It could destroy everything, economy, civilization, societies, yeah, and it could even benefit people. So we don't know at the moment. So you can imagine the thing that we're going through today is literally like we're looking at a thick grey or black cloud in the sky, and we can see lightning, but we don't know what that lightning is going to bring. Is that lightning going to bring destruction, like a tornado, and destroy everything? Or is that lightning going to bring like goodness? And after the death of the land, after the death of society, so many weeks and maybe even months that we've been locked away, maybe it's going to bring life to the society. Maybe it's going to bring a new rejuvenation to the society. Who knows? Yeah, but definitely excellent point. But so you see, when we look at these signs, when we look at these verses, the contemplation and the tafakkur and the kind of thoughts that go into the understanding the links and the background to these verses, this is what is encouraged when it comes to tadabbur, right? Okay, I'm just thinking, should we stop there? Yeah, I think we might. Okay, we'll just do this last verse then, verse 25. Yeah, so verse 25 then. وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ أَن تَقُومَ السَّاعَةُ. This is the last min ayatihi. وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ, and from Allah's signs, meaning from the signs of Allah, where the thing that's going to be mentioned after this brings our minds to Allah. As in, this is like an emblem of Allah. This is like, a marker for the existence of Allah, for the power of Allah. أَن تَقُومَ السَّمَاءُ وَالْأَرْضُ بِأَمْرِهِ. That the sky and the earth, they stand. As in, قَامَ السَّمَاء. The Arabs use the word قَامَ to mean stand literally. But when the Arabs use the word قَامَ for nonsensical things, they mean it's running. Yeah? Like for example, salat. The word for salat is قَامَ يَقُومُ as well. تَقُومُ الصَّلَاةُ. قَدْ قَامَتِ الصَّلَاةُ. Salat has stood up. يُقِيمُونَ الصَّلَاةُ. They make salat stand up. Meaning they kind of like make it work. Yeah? They give it like a movement, you can say. What's another better word? They make it operate. It's operational. أن تقوم السماء والأرض بأمره is that the skies and the earth stand with His command. Now, obviously, this is something which, how is the earth existing with Allah's command? How is the sky existing with Allah's command? This is what we've been told. Does that make sense? We can't detect this. We can't detect that the atoms are in place because of Allah. This is something you can't detect. We can't detect that the earth is, but we have been told that all of this existence is in existence because of Allah's command. وَمِنْ آيَاتِ أَن تَقُومَ السَّمَاءُ الْأَرْضُ بِأَمْرِهِ. Yeah, that the earth are. So we know that all these atoms must have got their energy from somewhere. Yeah, for each atom to be on top of one another, and then for this to create a sky or a mountain or an earth or whatever, there has to clearly be some sort of control. There's some energy that's controlling everything. ثم إذا دعاكم دعوة من الأرض إذا أنتم تخرجون. And then all of a sudden, ثم إذا دعاكم, then when He calls you, دعا, yeah, when He calls you, yeah, summons you, دعوة, in such a way, دعوة من الأرض, yeah, in such a calling which maybe you can say it's indescribable. دعوة من الأرض, yeah, from the earth. So min al-ard could refer to as in the da'wah does not come from the earth. The da'wah is actually maf'ul mutlaq of da'akum, and then da'akum, the min al-ard could be a hal, describing your hal. As in your hal, the human state is going to be from the earth. As in they're going to be dead. From the earth, from their graves, like you say. They're going to come out. إِذَا أَنْتُمْ تَخْرُجُونَ. All of a sudden, you're going to be coming out. So imagine like this, that humans are running around the earth at the moment now. يَنْتَشِرُونَ, like we said before. Civilizations are growing and civilization taking over another civilization. So fast pace it, speed up the time lapse. And you see all the civilization come and go, and then everything finishes. All humans die. Everything is dead. Earth is just, right, not as it used to be. Then all of a sudden, like someone presses a button, and all human life starts to come out the earth. Antum takhrujun. So this is different from what Allah said before. Allah before said, khalaqakum min turab. He created you from the dust. Here he's not saying he's going to recreate you from the dust. He's saying you're going to come out from the dust. Takhrujun. And kharaja yakhruju is usually, in the Arabs use this when the body is there, but something is coming out. So it's not being created from the earth. It's actually exiting from the earth. So we don't exactly know how this is going to happen. Right? We can kind of maybe assume how it's going to happen, but it seems to indicate an immediate sort of submission, obedience. So in other words, as soon as this call is given, immediately إِذَا أَنْتُمْ تَخْرُجُونَ, right, there's going to be no delay. So this shows that on this day, or when this call is made, the whole system of the universe is not going to be the same as before. Like before, it was a test. You were told to obey Allah, and it was up to you if you want to obey Allah or not. And this is where room and all of those kind of things came in place. But now, it's not going to be like that. It's just going to be, you're going to be called and you're going to come out. That's it. Like, like an army. Yeah. So when the general of the army calls the soldiers, all the soldiers quickly come out there, their camps, and they all line up. It's going to be like that. إِذَا أَنْتُمْ تَخْرُجُونَ. Yeah. So in other words, you can make it, maybe even imagine like this. In the earth, in the world, everything besides humans, every single thing besides humans and besides jinn, was in obedience to Allah. The sun, the moon, the planets, everything was in obedience to Allah. Even the rain, even the lightning, right? Except for humans and jinn, they had a choice. But when it comes to the hereafter, when they are summoned from the earth, everyone is going to behave like the earth, the moon, the stars, the skies, the sun. They're going to behave like that. In other words, they're going to come into full obedience to Allah, right? Because that's where it's going to be the Day of Judgment. Okay, so we'll stop there, I think. So okay, so anything? Did you guys get any reflections whilst we were going through these verses? Anything that came to your mind fitted in with the concept of the domination of Rome? Remember, domination of Rome is, you can say, an epitome of powerful civilization. Yeah, so a concept of powerful civilization that exists on earth. Allah is showing that every powerful civilization on earth is tomorrow is prone to destruction. Every civilization. And that the only civilization that really exists is Allah subhanahu. The only power that really exists is Allah's power. And through all of these, Allah is showing us His power. Like it's like behind the scenes, like when they have a movie, and then you don't see the cameras working, you don't see everything, but then they show you behind the scenes. So behind the scenes shows you everything. So likewise over here, these ayats are showing us the signs of Allah behind the scenes, right? All of these things that are happening, and those people who believe in behind the scenes, maybe this is another way of looking at it. If you believe in behind the scenes, you're going to be able to show obedience to Allah. But if you don't believe in behind the scenes, like Rome didn't believe in behind the scenes, then the destruction of Rome sent shockwaves around the earth. Yeah, it sent shockwaves around the earth. So the same thing as Muslims as well. As Muslims, we have to realize. So these verses were revealed to the Sahaba in Mecca, and remember, they were in the weakest position that they ever were in strength and financially. But Allah was showing them that, look, if Rome can be destroyed like this, and Allah is in control of everything. The Quraysh that are harming the Muslims, who are they then? Compared to Rum, who are they? And then Rum compared to Allah, who's Rum? Anything else? Okay, definitely. I feel like this, the previous one, are connected with the resurrection theme. Yeah, definitely. There is a resurrection theme there. Yeah, and that's something which in the entire Quran, that's like, you can say, like if you were to make a diagram, like you wanted to visualize ayats, right? This might be another good thing. I haven't seen anyone do this, but when it comes to Quran, new sort of methods can be adopted. I don't see a problem with new methods. So let's make a visualization of the Quran. So let's say, for example, we have this visualization where you make some ayats, and then those ayats, you make like lines that go back to, let's say, resurrection, Day of Judgment. And you have some ayats that go back to Allah. And you have some ayats that go back to, let's say, Iman, faith. And some ayats, so you have this kind of like, this brain sort of like mapped out in your mind of ayats. So some ayats are going to definitely go back to Day of Judgment. Yeah, but what we want to see in these reflections is we want to see like a complete sort of picture of the surah. Like by the end of us covering the entire surah of Rum, what I would like is that when a person thinks of Surah Rum, all these themes like come to mind, and you'd say, you know what, Surah Rum, I now expect in Surah Rum there to be the topic of power. I expect in Surah Rum there to be the topic of Allah's control. I expect there to be the topic of human weakness. I expect there to be divisions amongst humans. I expect there to be this idea of human development. So these kind of like themes, you can even write these down, right? I would say whenever you're like doing like maybe like you have your own Quran, and on the side in the margin, you might want to write down, these are like the themes of Surah Rum. And then if you start collecting like this, what happens is slowly you start to have this taste for Surah Rum. You have this taste for Surah Yasin, a taste, right? You have this feeling that this sounds like something Surah Rum would have in it. Allah rules over the greatest to the most minute systems. Yeah, definitely. Without a doubt. Okay, any other questions, guys, on this particular surah? No? Okay, Jazakumullah khair, guys. I'm going to try to do another reflection series tomorrow, same time. If I don't, then you'll have to just keep an eye on my social media for the next one then, right? Because next week's might be Ramadan, and timetable is going to get a bit hectic. So anyway, Jazakumullah khair, guys. Thank you very much for watching this and participating as well. And I'm sure there's many of you guys who are also hesitating and thinking to yourselves, I've got this thought that came to mind about Surah Rum, and I wanted to mention it, but I just felt a bit shy. It doesn't matter. I mean, the idea here is we're not doing a tafsir. Like I always say, this is not a tafsir. This is a reflection. Yeah. And I mentioned this to you guys before. Tafsir, like the example of tafsir would be like, imagine there's a mirror that's broken, and you're trying to put all the pieces back together, and you're gluing them, yeah, and you finally get all them put together. That's tafsir. That is, experts can do that, so average person can't do that. But reflection, anyone can do. Reflection, you look into the mirror and you see what you see around you, yeah. So using the mirror to try and see the world around you. This is what is understood as reflection. Jazakumullah khair, guys. Take care, inshallah. And remember, it's Jummah tomorrow, so Surah Al-Kahf and the usual, and sending salutations on the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam as well. Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.